Today, New York Forward is in action in 5 regions of the state set to reopen. But Governor Andrew Cuomo warns it needs to be done systematically. Take a listen.
You have to reopen intelligently, and you have to reopen in a calibrated way. Nobody says don't reopen. They say just be intelligent about the way you reopen. Follow the data, follow the science, follow the facts, follow the metrics.
All right, here to talk with us more about New York State's reopening is Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me back again.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're reopening 5 regions of New York that met the reopening requirements. So give us an idea of what this phase 1 of the reopening process is going to be and which businesses will reopen.
Well, the good news is that 5 of the upstate regions of our state have met the metrics that were put in place by the governor following CDC guidance. And those pertain to the number of cases, hospital capacity, how much testing is available, and contact tracing. So 5 of the regions, some of the cities people recognize are Rochester, Syracuse, Rochester, Binghamton, Watertown, some of the North Country areas. And so there's areas like Western New York, Buffalo, which are not quite ready yet, but the other ones have met the metrics. And what this reopening means is a very limited one. We're talking about construction sites, manufacturing now available, limited retail where you could pick up at the curbside. So we want to do really kind of a test case and make sure that when we start reopening the economy and some of these businesses slowly, that we can continue to monitor what is happening on the health side. Are the number of cases going up? Is the rate of transmission continuing to spread? And that's a good way for we can monitor what's going on upstate and get a template for what we should be doing downstate once the downstate regions, Long Island, the city, and Westchester,
right,
Rockland, and those areas are meeting these. So this is something downstaters should be watching to see the success of upstate and making sure that people keep social distancing even when these little cracks in the door are starting to open. But
Absolutely.
It's a positive sign.
Monitoring is going to be key, Lieutenant Governor, as you just mentioned there. So with that monitoring, how will you determine when to start, say, phase 2 and so forth of the reopening?
They have to continue to meet those 7 benchmarks in terms of testing capacity, hospital bed utilization, whether or not there's been an increase in new cases and new hospitalizations. So there is a control room that's put in place. I'm responsible for the upstate Western New York end of the control room, literally by date. Watch those numbers closely. And if we hit a spike or an outbreak or start seeing metrics that are not in a positive direction, we will have to put the pause back on again. And that is something we are desperately trying to avoid. I think that'd be tough on businesses and the psyche of everybody who's so excited to at least start seeing some hope on the horizon. But if people don't continue social distancing, if they don't keep wearing their mask, that is a very real possibility. So we are trusting people.
Right.
Once we start this reopening, to get it right so it can be done right all over the state of New York. We need to get there, and this is very positive that people in our state.
Especially for the health that is of everyone involved here. So let me ask you, as these phases start to reopen, right, the first, second, third phase, are you worried that folks from regions that aren't reopened, like New York City, which was the epicenter, will be traveling to these outside regions because they're like, hey, let's take a ride, let's get out of the house, let's go to a place that will eventually be open for dine-in and have a decent meal like we used to? Are you worried about transmission through those means?
Well, what's going to happen is restaurants and those kind of establishments won't be open until at least the 3rd phase, and there are 2 weeks in between each phase. So we're a month and a half off from any of those upstate regions even having restaurants available. So that's not an immediate concern, but we've never had travel restrictions. I mean, this is one state, and if people continue to adhere to the social distancing and the guidelines and wearing the mask, if they're going to travel a little bit, we discourage it, but we understand human nature. But there won't be any restaurants open, so nobody should jump in their car today or take the train in search of a restaurant in upstate. They're not open yet, and we need to, if you work in a construction facility, manufacturing, yes, you can get back to work, but the rest of society is not reopened yet. I think that's a word of caution everyone needs to realize.
Right. Exactly, and that's something to keep an eye out for as well once those things do reopen. Lieutenant Governor, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.